Hello. Now stop. कौन नहीं चुका था
Good morning, Dr. Gondhali sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Gondhali sir. Gondhali sir.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah. Am I audible clearly?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Just, sir. Switch off the light behind you. It reflects.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Bhavans sir. Good morning, Sudhar sir.
Yeah, very good morning.
What was it? Okay, okay.
झालं join.
Yadav sir. Sudhar sir.
Sir, good morning. Good morning.
I have already sent you YouTube link also. So if the room is full after 100, just inform all the students that they can join on YouTube also. It's a YouTube
Okay,
live.
okay. Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
I will send the link on your WhatsApp. You can send it to Gondhali sir also.
So shall we start, Bhagan sir?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Shall we start?
Sir, just wait for 1 or 2 minutes so that others can join.
Okay. Hello sir, is it okay now? At the background?
Yes, sir. Yes. Nice one.
I think Dr. Borse sir has joined. Sir? Not yet.
Not it, sir.
Okay.
No, sir. Not it. You can call him.
Okay. I'll inform.
And I suggest Yadav sir.
Okay.
Share the link to your student also.
Yes.
Sunil Gondhali sir, we are having a 100 students limit, and after that they can join on YouTube also, and all will be given a certificate.
Yes.
Sudhar sir.
Oh sir.
You can call Borse sir so that he can join.
Okay. So he has period, sir.
Yes. Sir. Hello. Doctor Suresh, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, I think I can start now.
Okay, sir. So for 31 numbers are there.
40. Yadav sir. You can off your mic so that Hamin can start.
Yes.
Okay. Very good morning. All. Myself, Dr. Head of English, to make this platform for all of our students on the topic of today's workshop. The title of workshop is a state level online workshop on introduction to poetry and prose. Dear students, you know that poetry and prose are the fundamental pillars of every society, every literature, and this is a platform which is made available by all of us to you to interact with the guest speakers today. No doubt you are going to have this type of poetry, the type of poetry, and the types of prose. So once you play with these mediums of expression, I'm sure that you will enjoy both language and literature. So MOU that we have signed with two colleges, that is ICS College Khed and Dnyandeep College, Morvande-Boraj. So I welcome both the principals of these colleges, and I request Dr. Bhavans sir to introduce today's guest speaker, my very close and intimate friend, Dr. Sunil Gondhali. Over to you, Bhavans sir.
Thank you, sir. As all of you are knowing that from next year we are going to implement NEP, and English will be the subject compulsory for all. So though today students from commerce stream, from science stream, and some are art stream, but as a preparation, we all should know the literature, as literature is a mirror of life, and literature is the art of discovering something extraordinary about ordinary people, and saying ordinary words something extraordinary. Such extraordinary person is our today's guest speaker, Dr. Sunil Gondhali. He has 70 years experience of teaching in UG and PG level. He has completed his MA, B.Ed, NET, MPhil, and PhD in English literature. Sir has also published two books, and near about 15 research articles and papers in national and international journals. Sir has presented 70 research papers in a national and international conferences and seminars. And with that, he has worked as a chapter contributor in a self-learning material for SYBA, and MA English Literature for the Institute of Distance and Open Learning, University of Mumbai. Sir is also playing an active role in a lifelong learning and extension department of Mumbai University, and also works as a program officer for NSS department. And as a social service, he is working for an NGO named Mother India Foundation in Curzon. So he is such a person and a master of words and literature. So on this state level workshop on English poetry and prose. I welcome sir in this workshop, and I request sir to deliver his speech. Over to you, Dr. Sunil Gondhali, sir.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Sudhar, sir, and Umesh Bagal, sir, Yadav, sir, and especially Umesh Bagal, sir, for giving a brief introduction for me. NEP, that is National Education Policy, is to be implemented in non-autonomous colleges from the upcoming academic year. But I'm happy to state over here that we have already implemented this particular National Education Policy from this academic year since we have autonomous status.
All the participants are requested that they have to switch off their mic so that you can listen the speaker in a nice manner. Please cooperate.
Okay, I hope PPT is visible.
Yes, sir.
On the screen. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, it's a pleasure for me to be here on this specific platform, that is virtual platform Google Meet, to address the students of English literature who have just started learning what exactly literature is and what are the various types of literature. So here for this state level workshop, we have selected the theme that is introduction to prose and poetry in English literature. And I have been given this particular topic to furnish details on the introduction to prose. That is one of the most important type of literature genre we have. Before I start, just to introduce a few things about prose. Since this particular topic is common in FYBA English literature, that is optional literature, in which we used to study four major types of literature. That is short stories, novel, poetry and drama. But recently, University of Mumbai revised this particular syllabus couple of years ago, and in that. Earlier it was just to mention a short story, poetry, drama, and novel. But now instead of short story, this one is considered as prose. It means in one semester we study prose and fiction, and in another semester we study poetry and drama. Now the place. It means literature has been broadening its wings, and now this particular short story that is one of the subtype in prose. Okay, that is replaced with prose, and in this we have started studying some of the essays, short stories, even novel into that. So that's a novel itself, short story, novel, essay. These are the subgenre of prose. So now we have started understanding literature, main types of literature and its subtypes. So that's why with this specific fresh look or the new approach about prose as a type of literature. Okay. So now for next 30-40 minutes, we will understand what exactly prose is and what is the significance of prose in English literature. The meaning of this particular type of literature that is prose is very easy. It is basically a kind of verbal or written communication, written language that follows the natural flow of speech. Okay, the way we communicate with one another. That is verbal communication and the way we write in the similar way. We write in any type of literature. That is basically a written language. So over here in prose we have natural flow of speech. I think Sania's mic is on mute. It should be on mute. Yes, Miss Sania. Yeah, thank you. So it is basically verbal and written language that follows natural flow of speech, the way we communicate with one another, the way we write. It is basically a literary medium distinguished from poetry. Okay, poetry we know over there we do not follow the simple grammatical rules. Okay, the poetry it's a kind of tone that is to be maintained throughout the entire poetry. So here it is different than the poetry. So basically, if you wish to understand prose, we should understand poetry because these two things are opposite to one another in the context of flow of speech. Especially by its greater irregularity and variety of rhythm. In poetry, you have that kind of rhythm that is maintained from the beginning till the end. So prose is one of the most common form of writing that is used in fiction and non-fiction also. And recently we can understand that a prose pattern is also followed in poetry. So it's a form of language that has no formal metrical structure. Like in poetry, we have the use of or a combination of stressed and unstressed syllables. Syllable is one independent unit of speech. We have accented and unaccented syllables over there, and we follow that particular system very openly over there. Like we have a kind of meter, regular pattern of stress and unstress. This sort of pattern we follow. In prose, we do not follow this specific pattern, but we follow simple or basic grammatical rules. Okay, prose basically this word we have in English. But in Latin we have one phrase that is prosa oratio. So it means straightforward. Without making any kind of twist and turn, the content is communicated with the target audience straightforwardly. So prosa oratio. So it's a kind of technique, a kind of narrative technique to communicate the specific content to the reader straightforwardly. Okay, there have been lots of attempts to define prose, and now we have started systematically understanding what exactly prose is. So it has been described as a genre of literature, but still it remains a challenge as it is used across different types of literature, including fiction, non-fiction, drama and poetry also. So there can be a question: if poetry is different than prose, or fiction, non-fiction can be included in prose. How can poetry? In poetry, we have the use of prose pattern. Yes, it is there. We'll explain that one in further slides. So prose writing is the part of fiction, non-fiction also, drama and poetry also. So let's understand some of the salient characteristics of prose. Definitely a kind of clarity and simplicity in presenting content is one of the most important salient feature of prose writing. So as we have already said that it's a straightforward way of communicating information, communicating ideas or any kind of content. It is clear. There is a clarity in expression of ideas, making it accessible to a wide range of readers. So considering that the readers worldwide, we can say that prose can be understood. Prose writing can be understood by any individual with clarity and simplicity. They don't need that kind of further expertise to understand the specific content. We can understand. But poetry, if you wish to understand poetry, we need a kind of special effort over there. Second feature is paragraph structure. So in prose writing, paragraph structure is followed. So we have sentence pattern where we use subject, then verb, then object, then variety of other phrases over there. But in poetry, these are the basic rules that are violated. For special effect. So in prose writing, we follow paragraph structure. Just like in poetry, we follow stanza pattern. In prose, we follow paragraph structure. So in one paragraph, we try to explain the specific aspect of the topic. In prose, we have narrative and descriptive technique that is used. Narrative technique definitely that is storytelling technique. Starting from one point and ending at somewhere. So we have a kind of storytelling technique used over there. And in storytelling technique, we have vivid descriptions, creating immersive literary experiences. So through narrative and descriptive way or mode of writing, we create that kind of imagery. Pictorial imagery, virtual imagery in front of the specific readers. They can easily guess the specific thing or place in front of their eyes. They can create a kind of mental picture of the same. So for this reason, narrative technique, storytelling technique is one of the most common in prose. As we have been discussing in prose, basic grammatical rules have been followed. Just like writing in full sentences. Using that subject verb pattern and rest of the elements one after another, adding some of the phrases over there, add any kind of special content over there, and the language that is used in prose, that is foregrounded language, means basically commonly used language. So here presenting a character environment and summarizing any kind of event, you need that kind of language which can be easily understood by the readers. Then in prose writing, we have it is basically a kind of genre of literature in which diverse expressions can be easily communicated. So here some of the creative landscapes offering diverse avenues, places, and making the complex ideas simple one. And even we have lots of emotions to be communicated. So prose writing gives a kind of way forward to the authors to write that kind of clarity and readers to understand specific things. So the next feature is literary accessibility. Okay, prose writing has brought literature to a wider audience. For example, poetry is difficult to understand. We need some sort of technicality to understand the poetry, to generate the meaning from that. But prose writing has brought literature to a wider audience because prose can be understood by anybody. We don't need that further efforts to understand the piece of writing. It fosters a deeper connection between writers and readers across different social strata. Indian literature can also be that is written can be understood by any foreigner because the prose pattern in prose the grammatical pattern that is followed is well familiar to the world audience. So that's why we have a kind of literary accessibility. It means we use some sort of patterns that we follow in prose writing, and that can be easily understood by any author, any reader worldwide. So literature is also considered as a kind of specifically prose, a building block of literature. Because in this we have a kind of simple technique that is used to convey information and stories to readers. So that's why any kind of fictional, non-fictional content that is written creates a kind of building block in literature. And definitely we should talk about the writing styles. That is one of the most common feature over here. Okay, we have persuasive writing, that is to persuade somebody's mind, to make them understand your things. Then we have narrative and descriptive technique that we follow over here. We have expository writing. We expose some sort of ideas through prose. Analytical method is also followed. In this style, we analyze the content, for example, character analysis. If you consider any novel, any short story, and when you start writing about the character stage, that is character analysis. So analytical writing. Even scientific experiments are written in analytical way. Then we have argumentative writing. So these are the writing styles that we use over here. After understanding these salient features, let's talk about the origin of prose in English literature. Since we consider poetry is one of the oldest form of literature. Even before Christ, we have number of pieces of poetry written, ancient poetry. So let's understand the origins of prose in English literature. Okay, let's talk about the Old English period. That is 450 to 1066. Basically, this age is known as Anglo-Saxon period. That is the before medieval period. So prose writing emerged during this particular Old English period. And the most important work that is written anonymously by somebody that is Buell. It showcases early form of storytelling. What we have in this particular epic. It's an ancient epic that is written Old English epic that is composed in 3,182 lines. It is basically a kind of adventurous journey of the hero Buell, who travels to Denmark. So it is written in poetic form, but this particular poetic form is as easy as prose writing, and it has communicated a kind of journey of the specific character. So that's why a kind of story is narrated in this particular piece of writing, epic. In medieval period, that is 1066 to 1485. Basically, this is medieval period in which prose writing became an essential medium for religious and historical writing. Okay, people started understanding the importance of religious scriptures and started writing history. So that includes chronicles and homilies, that is sermons. And here in England specifically, like people started opposing the existing ruling authority. That is definitely Roman Catholic authorities. And in this particular age, most of the authors supporting this particular revolution that they had expected. That is to come out of this particular mentality and let's understand our religious scriptures and historical things. So then they started writing the specific content in the form of prose. That was earlier that was in poetic form. After that we have Renaissance period. That is starting from 1500 to 1688, in which we have a kind of rebirth of learning. like invention of printing press, lots of technologies were invented, and even a kind of migration from Greek Roman to England. So lots of techniques of writing started flourishing over here, and definitely one was prose. With the introduction of essay essay as a type of prose that was introduced, autobiographies were written, and some of the philosophical treatises that were also written during the specific time. And here, in this specific periods, we have some of the best examples of prose writing. Definitely that is Geoffrey Chaucer's The Canterbury Tales. It represents a significant early example of prose fiction in English literature. So it is basically here we have 24 stories. Three strangers travel towards Canterbury. So their adventurous journey has been described over here in Canterbury Tales. Then we have Thomas Malory's Le Morte, the author. Basically, it's a King Arthur's story that is narrated over here in the form of storytelling. William Caxton translated Aesop's fables that are popular all over the world. So once that were translated into English, that were made available in the form of prose. Okay. What are the developmental stages after that? After that Renaissance and Restoration age. Okay, in 17th and 18th century, we have more than 1,000 years of development history of prose writing. And nowadays we use one of the most simple form of prose writing. In 17th and 18th century, it is basically known as Enlightened Age. So there we have rise of prose, and specifically as a vehicle of philosophical discussion. Number of authors came forward. They wanted changes in the society. They started writing philosophical content and scientific inventions. How to describe that? They started writing in the form of prose. In 19th century, that is specifically the most important thing we have over here, that is Victorian age. That witnessed the evolution of prose fiction. Okay, the first time the prose fiction concept that is practiced, including the works of Charles Dickens and Bronte sisters. Okay, Charles Dickens novels, short stories we study. So that are the best examples of prose and prose fiction in 19th century. And 20th century. Here the modern era started, and in which we have diverse styles, various voices reflecting the ever-changing world. Definitely, when we move towards 21st century, we have a kind of development of prose, and we practice that kind of things accordingly. So prose writing definitely it's a creative writing. It comes under creative writing. So we have that kind of creativity from the various writers, and because of these sort of creative faculty of mind, we have variety of subgenre of prose. Even William Shakespeare's Hamlet, these are the plays. This can be the best example of prose. These are the plays written by William Shakespeare. But in praise, we have conversation from the characters that is in the form of dialogues, not in the form of poetry. Okay, Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice. That is one of the most prominent example of prose fiction, which captivate readers worldwide. These are the classics in prose writing. We have Charles Dickens. Great Expectations, David Copperfield. These are some of the classic examples that I'm communicating to you. Okay, what are the various genres of prose in English literature? Definitely. These subgenre of prose that are in four categories. First one is fiction literature that is written with the help of imagination. That is not like places, characters that are not existed as it is in the world, since that are described over there. These are fictional characters, fictitious characters, themes that are practiced by the specific authors with the help of imagination. So here, fiction, that is novel, short stories come under fiction. In prose, we have non-fiction. Okay, non-fiction. That is basically it is written with the help of facts, realities. So here we have autobiographies. Authors write about their own lifespan. It means that they mention the realities. Then biographies. One author can write something about another character. Biographical elements are there. Essay writing. Speeches delivered by some of the historical personalities, and even today, diary writing that is also in prose pattern. Memoirs, travel diaries, journalistic writing. These are the non-fiction prose. Then in drama also we have the use of prose elements. Because in drama we have dialogue that is written in the form of dialogue. But these dialogues are in the form of sentences and paragraphs. And the fourth category of type of prose, that is prose poetry. Okay, in poetry we have jumping emotions, one emotion, another emotion, beginning, rhythmic pattern that is followed over there, and the special emphasis is given on the stress and unstressed syllables. But in poetry too, a kind of storytelling method is followed. So this storytelling method differs prose poetry from poetry. So we have use of different types of speech and all that. But storytelling method, a descriptive method that is followed. So these are the four major subgenre of prose. That is fiction, non-fiction, drama, and prose poetry. Okay, to write in prose pattern, we should focus on the diverse rhetorical patterns. What are these rhetorical patterns? These are also known as rhetorical devices. Okay, the rhetorical device is a linguistic tool that uses a specific sentence structure, sound or pattern of meaning to evoke a specific reaction. Okay, means here these rhetorical patterns are basically what sentences that we form in prose. These can be definition when you write about any particular thing, and if it looks like a definition, then definition is like a rhetorical pattern. Like when you try to convince the definition or meaning of any particular topic, it is the sentence pattern is definitely a rhetorical pattern is definition. Sometimes we use sentences which can convey cause and its effect. So cause and effect relationship is there. Cause and its effect. Then we have comparison and contrast. In some of the sentences, we use comparison and contrast. Means we compare two objects together with one another to show contrast. Sometimes similarity, sometimes contrast. Then another rhetorical pattern that is chronological and spatial ordering. Chronological is basically historical ordering of information. Okay, like in when you read any history book, there you have chronological patterning. What happened first? What happened after that? What happened recently? That is written in the form of prose. So over there chronological pattern is followed. So in prose, we can use this particular pattern too. Then we write something as per the order of importance. That is preference. What comes first? What comes next? We give preference to the specific information. Then we have statement and elaboration. Sometimes we make one statement and we explain that further. That is statement and elaboration on the same. Sometimes we give lots of examples in the sentence itself. For example, we use some of the specific markers. You add some sort of information, and then you use such as for instance, for example, and then you give some of the examples. So this particular pattern is known as exemplification. Then we have listing. Sometimes we list down some of the things in the sentence itself. So here listing we use comma after an element. So that is basically a list of something. Then process. We explain process with the help of prose. These are the rhetorical patterns. It means if you understand the sentences or analyze the sentence that you have written, you can find sentences can be definition, can be exemplification, can be comparison and contrast, can be listing of something. Okay, then one of the most important thing that we have after understanding the basics of prose writing or prose as a form of literature. What is the influence or impact of prose in English literature? Basically, it's a reflection on the enduring legacy of prose in literary tradition. So here definitely prose is considered as a vehicle for social commentary and criticism. Literature is after all a kind of social commentary, because writers write with the help of their experiences that they gain from the society. So it's a social commentary. Then it's a criticism. We criticize some of the elements that we observe over there, putting some sort of characters in front of the readers. So prose as a vehicle for social commentary and criticism. Then the role of prose in shaping the development of English language and literature. Okay, like the prose science that was practiced in Anglo-Saxon period 1,000 years, more than 1,000 years ago, and today's prose. We have tremendous changes, and these changes are because of the development and that kind of contribution given by some of the prose writers. Then the influence of prose on other literary genre. Like today we consider prose, poetry. Okay, these two things we combine together. Even in drama, prose writing is there. So influence of prose on other forms of literature can also be observed. Then we have narrative structure and storytelling technique. Like prose writing has given a kind of particular technique to the specific authors. They follow narrative structure and storytelling technique to convey their ideas to the readers. Okay, prose writing is helpful to develop character in fiction, in novel, in short story. A kind of portrayal can be easily done with the help of prose. Like we can take the example of Arvind Dadiga's The White Tiger, that is the novel published in 2008. The character, small child working at the local tea stall to becoming a successful entrepreneur. So this character is shown over there from childhood to adulthood. Character development with the help of prose writing. Then we have use of dialogue and description in prose writing. Okay, we also use dialogue forms and various descriptions like describing any nature object, any landscape with the help of prose writing. Okay, so here we have why we should study prose in English literature. There are two reasons we have as per understanding. That is literature is after all what? That is cultural things, cultural insights. So studying prose provides valuable insights into the cultural, historical and social context of different literary spirits. Okay, the literature that was published in the specific age can convey a kind of specific information on culture, history and society. What kind of contemporary society was there. Okay, then we have literary evolution, like an exploration of prose offers reach understanding of the evolution of language we can understand the use of language from early English period to present time. You can find lots of differences over there. Today's language is one of the most polished language. So different styles and techniques in writing the piece of literature that you can see when narrative techniques in literature that we have. Okay. Let's come to the conclusion. So here, prose in English literature has evolved as a dynamic and enduring form of expression. Like literature, fiction, non-fiction, even drama, even poetry, prose poetry. These forms are for what reason? That is, these are the forms of expression, human emotions, information, knowledge, what we have that we can easily describe using prose. Okay, its impact across different genre of literary periods that we have already gone through continues to shape the way stories are told and ideas are communicated. Means here we have some of the recent techniques. Even today, flash fiction, micro fiction. Okay, six-word novel. Means here we have shorter forms of literature that are the outcomes of the development of prose fiction. Then the study of prose not only provides a window into the past, but also unlocks pathways to understand the present and envisioning the future of literature. So means here whatever contribution from various authors we have in prose writing, definitely we are shaping this specific world with the help of prose writing. So that is one of the common literary form. For example, the answers you write in the examination that are the best example of prose. So since this specific genre is a kind of most important in literature because everybody practices this particular form. But in literature, prose that is fiction, short story, novel, in non-fiction, various types are over there. Prose writing plays a kind of important role in shaping the future of literature. So that's why here I have furnished my understanding on prose writing. I'm very much thankful to all the three college organizers who are friends, big B's for me in this specific teaching fraternity. I'm thankful to all the three colleges for inviting me, giving me this opportunity to present my understanding on prose writing. Thank you, sir. Over to you, sir.
सुतार सर अनम्यूट करा तुम्हाला. सुतार सर अनम्यूट करा अनम्यूट.
बंद करता दरवाजा. सुतार सर good morning. Sutar sir, you are not audible. Unmute yourself first.
Just me. Am I audible?
Yeah. It's okay.
Yes, sir. You can repeat the same
So I'm very thankful to Dr. Sunil sir for guiding all the participants on the time that is prose. So let me tell you in brief what he presented in his speech. So he has given a very nice description of prose. Not only that, he has narrated certain features of prose. He has presented certain causes behind prose. Not only that, he has discussed age development of prose. And I'm very sure that henceforward the participants who are present here, they will find prose very much easy. I think should I say not be an exaggerate statement that it will be more easy than poetry itself, because you have presented in a very beautiful manner. Now I request Dr. Yadav to introduce the second guest of today's workshop. Over to Dr. Yadav, sir.
Thank you, sir. First of all, hello.
Hi, yes, sir.
Okay, sir. I would like to congratulate Sunil Gondhali, sir. His lecture is very excellent, and all our students like his lecture. Next expert in this session is Dr. Pravin Borse, sir. He is also associate professor. His qualification is MA PhD. He is a PG teacher by Marathwada University, Jalgaon from 2017. He is a member on the Board of Studies in English, North Maharashtra University, Jalgaon. He is the head of department, A.C.S. College Dharangaon. He is a coordinator of IQC from 2013 to 2023. He is a coordinator of NAC 2013 to 2023. He is a member of CDC. He is an external referee of RAC MJ College Malgaon. He published 16 research papers and 8 books. He organized 3 international conferences. I would like to request Pravin Borse, sir, to advise our students.
Borse, sir.
Hello, Pravin, sir.
Yes, sir. Good morning. All of you.
Start.
Let me first technically be updated myself.
Hello.
I'm not that much of technical fellow. That's why it is not possible for me to share the screen as I have prepared the PPTs. इथे शेअर आला तेव्हा आलं होतं ना शेअर ना आता काय नाही सुतार सर
Hi, sir.
hello
Sir.
sir anybody can help me to share the screen for PPTs
Bagal, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, please help me.
can I share the PPTs on the screen present now
Bagal, sir is doing something.
Yes, sir. Just.
हाँ बागल सर
Sir, just click on present now.
हाँ present now
And then
just I click the present now but that share option is passive there on my screen hello
yes, sir.
I have clicked that button present now. Now on the screen there is option, but that share icon is passive on my screen. याला गौरव माझ्याला बोलत just wait sir.
Hello, Borse sir.
Yes sir.
Hello, sir. Go to present now.
Yes
Then
now.
click on Windows
Window
or
yes
entire screen
or entire screen also, but there is no share option. That share
Sir,
option is not
Borse
there. Share
Borse
icon is
sir.
there, but it is
Just click on that screen. What is visible on your screen? Then share option will be enabled.
yes. Now it is available.
Share करा फक्त. Okay sir. आता
Yes.
visible होईल.
तुषार हे आलं शेअर ऑप्शन. एक मिनिट हे आता शेअर ऑप्शन होतं ना. नाही बघा. इथून आला.
त्यांनी अनेबल तुम्हाला.
सर आता तुमची जिथे PPT असेल ना तिला क्लिक करा. एंटर स्क्रीनला गेल्यानंतर स्क्रीन दिसेल. त्याच्यात तुमची PPT त्याला क्लिक करा. नाही तर तुमची PPT आहे ना डेस्कटॉपवर घेऊन घ्या तुमच्या अगोदर.
It is already on the desktop, sir. Now I opened it also.
Pravin sir. Hello.
Yes.
Hello. If not possible, just deliver lecture as you deliver in the
Yes, sir.
class.
Yes. Just wait 1 minute, sir. I was back. Sorry for the inconvenient, but the guy is coming now. He will help me to share the PPTs. But before that, let me start with the greetings. I would like to thanks to the organizers. Here the man come. He open the screen. इथून शेअर करतो ना आपण.
सर तुझी मेल ओपन झाली.
क्लोज कर ना.
तुझी मेल क्लोज करा सर.
मेलवर गुगल मीट मध्ये गेला.
मेल क्लोज केली ना की डेस्कटॉप दिसेल.
स्क्रीनवर ओपन केलेला आहे.
मेल क्लोज लावा. त्यावेळेस काम करायला पाहिजे.
हे बंद होईल ना रे मीटिंग.
नाही ना.
मेल चालू आहे ना.
हां पण का गुगल मीट सुरू होऊन गेला आहे.
नंतर मेल लॉगिन
आता बघा.
क्रोम टॅब
हां आता बरोबर. येस आता शेअर. येस येस.
येस सर.
म्हणजे आपण जे क्रोम टॅब
स्क्रीन करा ते.
मी काय म्हणतो इग्नोर दाबायचं का इकडं. हे असं ब्लर होत नाही ना. इग्नोर करू का.
हा इग्नोर करा.
You can start for now.
एक मिनिट थांब ना. येस सर. आता नेक्स्ट बॅक कसं नाही होत ना.
ते नाही तुम्ही त्या वेगळा ओपन करा. त्यामध्ये शेअर करतो. याला
याच्यावर सिलेक्ट करा.
ते तिकडे दिसतंय कशामुळे.
तुम्ही नंबर आणि लिंक
तुझं ओपन करतो. ते तर आलं. ओके सॉरी सर. आता हे So Honorable Principal, Dr. Sandhika Katkar ma'am, hello, may I audible sir?
Yes sir.
Hello.
You are audible. You are audible, sir.
Hello.
You are
Sir,
audible.
may I audible? Okay.
Yes, you are audible.
Yes. Honorable Dr. Vijay Kulkarni ji, Principal, Dr. Anita Anki, Principal, Khed College, my dear friend, Dr. Suresh Sutar, Dr. Umesh Bagal, and Dr. Balasaheb Yadav. So without delay, let me start the topic which is suggested to me by my dear friend, my colleague, Mr. Dr. Sutar sir. Today, it's a very great moment to talk with the students of various colleges, and for the students, I'm going to discuss the types of poetry. Again, there is error in my presentation, but I will continue. So, while talking about poetry, dear friends, there are some genres of literature, as we know, but basic, primary, or what I may say, the native genre of literature. That's okay.
इथून तुम्ही काय करा. इकडे दिसते.
So,
त्यामुळे तुम्ही करा कंटिन्यू.
poetry is the basic or native genre of literature, as we know. When the word or the language is innovated in human life or by human being, poetry was the first genre. Poetry was the first type of literature, which is in which the human beings started to collect the information, started to share the information, and for many years, for thousands of years, we may say for hundreds of years, this single genre of literature was continued throughout the world, throughout all the languages of the world. It doesn't matter whether it is English, whether it is Sanskrit also, whether it is Urdu, Marathi, whatever. But after poetry, there comes drama. But the earlier stage of drama was also poetic, as you know very well. And then afterward, this prose writing is used or applied in the literary field by the literary artists of the various languages. And in prose section, already earlier speaker has talked about the prose writing, in which we have narrative writings, novels, fictions, essays, and all these things. But so far as poetry is concerned, it has a long history, it has a very ancient history, and up to day we are using this genre of literature, the richest genre, the very beautiful genre, the musical genre of literature, in which the world has expressed, the human has expressed his thoughts, his feelings, his ideas, his emotions. This is the only genre through which people have expressed their love towards their people, towards beloved, towards the parents, towards the children, and whatever. So, poetry is a very basic and very important genre of literature. Very in the very earlier stage, I would like to talk about. There are some very beautiful definitions made by very great scholars in English literature, English criticism, or throughout the world. A very beautiful and very famous definition of poetry. Most of us know, most of the students also know.
Bagal sir,
Yes, sir.
Borse is not audible.
Yes, yes. Uh, you can call him on phone.
So another definition is
He's
poetry is the expression of
yes.
imagination. Hello.
Yes, sir. You are audible. You can continue.
Yes. Poetry is the expression of imagination. Whatever the imagination human being has in his mind, already human mind is the storehouse of imagination, is the storehouse of thinking process, is the storehouse of thought making. Now all this thought making, imaginative elements, the thinking process, whatever he has in his mind, he has expressed through poetry. So P.B. Shelley, again one of the romantic poets, put the definition or defined poetry as an expression of imagination. Then there is an ancient writer who has defined poetry. He is Plutarch. He says poetry is a speaking picture and painting is a mute poetry. Always we know the comparison between poetry and painting is made of, even the comparison is made between poetry and music also. So, like a painting, poetry is a speaking picture. So, to compose a poem is means to paint, to picturize a painting. And in painting also, in poetry also, in both the things, we have words, colors, imagination, and through those all elements we express, we give messages, we deliver messages and receive messages through all those things. In poetry, uh, let me start from the basic things, that there are two types of poetry: subjective poetry and objective poetry. This basic and proper two types are there in poetry. In subjective type, in subjective type, we have four sub types of subjective poetry, and in objective poetry also we have two basic types. In subjective poetry we have lyric, elegy, ode, sonnet, and in objective poetry ballad, epic, ideal, and satire. But if you're going to talk about these poetic types, subtypes of poetry, let us know first what is subjective poetry and what is objective poetry. The basic difference between subjective poetry and objective poetry is that in subjective poetry, the thoughts and the feelings of the poet are personal. What you may say, the poet puts his own reflections upon the objects, whatever the object is used for that poetry writing. The poet talks about his ideas about that object. He puts his own reflections upon the object or event he has seen or felt or observed. This reflection is purely personal. He has his own idea, and that's why we call it subjective poetry. He expresses and describes the things, his thoughts, feelings from within, from his inner side, from his inner way. The views expressed in the poem are his own, and that's why sometimes or some people call subjective poetry as personal poetry also, because the thoughts and ideas, the views, the approaches given on the object are very personal of his own. Hence, the subjective poetry, and many times is called personal poetry. Also, the poet searches the source and material within his mind, where the thoughts and feelings are reflected through observation of the outer things and happenings, called subjective poetry. Vice versa, the same thing is there, objective poetry. Object is there in subjective poetry also. Object is there in objective poetry also. But whatever is expressed about that object, whatever the analyze, whatever the description is given about that object, is personal in subjective poetry, is from within in subjective poetry, and vice versa. In objective poetry, the same object can be glorified, can be described, can be analyzed, explained without of the poet's mind. He many times the poet does not give his personal views about that object. Whatever the description, whatever the composition is made in that poem is outwardly made. It passively made. Instead of outwardly, we should use the word passively. The poet remains absent. His views are not there. His approach is not there. His personal expressions are not there about that object. His personal thoughts are not there about that object. But the description of that object is given in objective poetry as it seems, as it is. If there is an event, upon that event there is a poem composed, a poem, that composition, poetic composition, so that event will be described by the poet neutrally, passively. His views he will not inculcate into that event, and that event will be described. That event will be narrated in the poem. At that time, we can say this is objective poetry. So this is a very basic difference, very basic difference between very basic types of poetry, the subjective poetry and objective poetry. In subjective poetry, the poet himself is present, we can say. In objective poetry, the poet is absent. His views are absent, his own feelings are absent, his ideas upon that object are absent, and very neutrally the poet describes the object, describes the event, describes the what you may say, any human being, any character. But that character will be analyzed, the ideas will be the poem will be composed very neutrally, and this is the basic difference between subjective poetry and objective poetry. In subjective poetry, there are four types, as I told you earlier. The first one, and the very what do we say, the old form of poetry is lyric. Lyric is a we may say that lyric is an umbrella term. Lyric is an umbrella type of poetry. Many people in modern linguistics, in modern literature, many people used to say the types of poetry. There are three types of poetry. In modern era, we may find in many books that there are three types of poetry. The first one is lyric. The second one is narration, narrative poems, First one, lyrical poem, narrative poem, and dramatic poems. But these are the modern views about literary people, literary critics. But traditionally, if you look the types of poetry, there are basic two types: subjective poetry and objective poetry. In subjective poetry, we have lyric, elegy, ode, and sonnet. These four basic types are there in subjective poetry. In objective poetry, we have again basic four types, and that is ballad, epic, idyll, satire. All these objective forms, objective types of poem or poetry are narrative. As earlier, I have told you that there are three modern types we may say. I will call them modern, but actually modern is not the suitable word. But many modern people used to say that there are three types of poems, and that is lyrical, narrative, and dramatic. So ballad, epic, these are dramatic poems. These are narrative poems. But in lyric, elegy, ode, and sonnet, these are subjective poems because the poet, the literary artist, gives his own views, gives his own ideas about the things and objects. So let us start. Let us see the next types of poetry, that is lyric. Lyric is a very short poem. Is the name for the short poem, usually divided into stanzas, directly expressing poet's own thoughts, as I earlier told you. Traditionally, the lyric is also called the melik. This word is very absent in modern literary field. No, many people doesn't know and don't know the word melik. But melik is the name of lyric also. Earlier in ancient days, it was called melik. Then after, it is used to say lyric. So what is lyric? Lyric is a very simple, short, and musical song. Early in the earlier stage, the form of lyric was like it was a song sung with the dance. The lyric was a musical, dance was there, and it was sung with the help of a musical instrument, and that musical instrument was lyre. So, on the basis of that musical instrument, lyre, the title or the name of that poetic form is given. From lyre, it became the lyric. So, by playing the musical instrument lyre, some people used to dance there, and they used to sing the song. That song was called lyric. So these lyrical things are there. As I earlier told you, it is a short poem dealing with a single emotion, a single subject is there, that single emotion is there. It is a musical, verbal music is there. Again, lyre was there in ancient days. Now in earlier days in modern period, those things are gone away now. There is no dance, there is no musical instrument like lyre. But these poems are composed and people used to read it and enjoy the lyrics nowadays. It is very simple in language and treatment. There is no any kind of complexity in lyrical composition. Having more focus on emotions and sentiment rather than the language. As I told you, it is a very simple composition. Lyrical composition is a very simple composition. But that simplicity is maintained because of the sentimental things. The focus is given on the emotions. The focus is given on the sentiment. The focus is given on the expressions. Whatever the expressions the poet wants to deliver, whatever the emotions expressions he wants to share, he wants to talk about his beloved, he wants to talk about his near one, he wants to talk about his loving human, he or she. So rather than the linguistic complexities, he talks about his near human being, and that's why the focus is given to the expression. The focus is the emotions. And again we may say that it is a very niche poem presenting defining structure with the division of three parts. Majorly there are three parts. One thing I would like to share. I think my PPTs are not going on, but okay. The poet Sappho and contemporary Alcaeus. These were the first lyrics artists in Greek history, and then lyric came to English literature in 16th century. As we know, 16th century, that is Shakespearean period of Shakespearean literature, we may say, or the Elizabethan literature, the richest literature in English language. This was the richest period of English literature. It is also called the period of singing birds. Elizabethan period is called the period of phase of literature of singing birds. And why it is called the period of phase of singing birds? Because the lyrical poetry, the lyrical poems were composed, were written down by the many great artists like William Shakespeare, Sydney, and many were there. So many poets were there in that period. And all of them have composed a very rich type of poems, rich type of lyrics particularly. And that's why that period has called or is called the singing the nest of singing birds, the nest of singing birds. So these are the lyrical qualities. And in lyric we have metaphysical poetry also. And from ancient to modern period, we have many lyric poets at our hand who has composed the very great lyric poems. Then we have elegy. Elegy is also we may say that type of lyrical poetry. But in lyrical poetry, afterward this lyrical poetry is divided into two parts. The pure lyric nowadays became or used or applied for love making poetry, for expressing love to towards beloved or wife or friends, like that. But elegy came upon the stage afterward. And what was elegy? Elegy is an ancient Greek poetic form. The term elegy covered war songs in earlier. War songs were there in elegy. Love poems, political verses, lamentation for the dead. This is the basic aspect, we may say, or the element of elegic poem. That it is a lament poem. It is a lament poem. Lamentation for the dead. Dead of a near one. Death of a relative. Death of a friend. The Greeks identified this composition by its form and not by its subject matter. It was written in major, etc. The modern period, it is the theme that matters. In earlier days, the theme was not important. The composition, the structure was important. But in modern period, the theme became important in elegy. And what was the theme of elegy? The theme of elegy was the lament over the death or the mourning on the death. In Marathi we can say shok vyakt karne. So not the classical imagery is not used in English verse. The theme of the present elegy is more full. It is usually a lament for the dead, laments places also. Lament over places also. Lament over the lost love. The lament over the past. Our past is gone away. We lost our past life. We lost our past memories. So on those lost memories also, the people started to compose elegies. And though it may be inspired by other themes such as unrequited love, fall of famous city and other. If there is defeat, fall of country, for that point also, that element also, elegies are written down. We have two forms or two subtypes of elegy also. Modern elegy, already I have explained you that in modern elegy we lament over the loss of people, loss of places, loss of love, loss of things, any type of loss or death. It is written nowadays. But in ancient period, the beginning of elegy was with the pastoral elegy. During the Renaissance, elegy was introduced in English poetry. During the Renaissance, we may say, during 15th century, elegy was introduced in English literature. But earlier, it was in Greek, Latin, it was present. And there, the word proper, the origin word, the pastoral comes from the Greek word pastor. Pastor means to grace the animals. Hence, the pastoral elegy became an elegy in which the poet represents himself as a shepherd. So it was a song of shepherd people particularly. Shepherd while praising his animals, they were singing the songs for the loss of any particular animal, any his beloved, his nearby human being. So the shepherds mourning over the death of a fellow shepherd, fellow animal, and the manner of speech and sitting were borrowed from rustic life. Obviously, the setting of elegy in ancient period, it was rustic setting, rural setting. It was farming. It was grazing in the farm, in the forest, and that type of setting was there in elegy. The form arose among the Sicilian Greeks, originating with Theocritus, whose idyls and epigrams are the earliest poems known as elegies, or in pastoral elegies. So idyls and epigrams. These were the earlier poems written in elegic form. Then it was used by Latin poet Virgil has given a very proper platform to elegy. His eclogues and georgics are noted for their vivid treatment of the scenes and labors of the countryside. As I earlier told you, the countryside, rural and rustic background was there in elegy. In after long gap between 15th and 16th century, Italy was revived and soon found imitators in Europe as well as in the various parts of the world. In English literature, it is rooted with Spencer's Shepherd's Calendar. In English literature, Edmund Spencer's Shepherd Calendar is the very richest collection of poetry in which he has given the very richest elegies to the world. And another poetic collection by Edmund Spencer was Astrophel. And in Astrophel also there are many poems and many elegies he has written for his beloved. And in modern period, the traditional elements of have lost its charm. And now, so by that we can say pastoral elegy, which was in ancient period, composed down, and in modern period, it is modern elegy. So these are the basic things and elements of elegy. Then came over the ode. Ode is a song sung in Greek first. It is a serious, dignified or rhythmical composition. Ode is not written for love making. Ode is not written for expressing personal views, personal love, personal feelings about any simple and short object. But it is a dignified composition for a dignified object. The object is there. That object is dignified. The composition, the way of composing is dignified. So it is a very serious song. It is a very serious, dignified and rhythmical composition. It is longer than the traditional short lyric. In subject to poetry, ode is the longest composition. Lyric is a short poem. Elegy is somehow long than lyric. Then another form we have next form that is sonnet. Sonnet is a 14-line poem. It is restricted to 14 lines. But ode has that type of restriction of lines or the words. It is a longest poem. So for a subject types of poetry are concerned. So ode is a longer than the traditional lyrics in the form of address. It is a form of address. To call upon somebody, to address somebody, to praise somebody. The salient features of the ode are it is exalted in subject matter, serious in subject and theme and treatment. Because of its seriousness and dignified style, it is somehow longer than the other subject types. The deep and sincere emotions are treated with high seriousness in elaborative way. elaboration is there. Elaboration is there. Elaboration of an event. Elaboration of the what do we say? Relative elaboration of a near human being, your friend, your lover, your beloved. So that type of dignified style is used to elaborate that particular object, that particular subject of the poem. The object is addressed directly at the beginning of the poem. To whom we are addressing is introduced at the beginning. In ode, the setting is profound. As earlier I had told you, it is a dignified and serious composition. So the setting is very profound. The setting is also very made on the larger scale, on the major scale. So there is a dignification in ode. And in so far as ode is concerned, there are some poets to whom we should mention here very seriously or very praiseworthily. Pindar is there, and after his name, the ode is known as Pindaric ode. That Pindaric ode is also called in Choric ode also in earlier days. The Dorian ode, the Choric ode, or the Pindaric ode was sung to the accompaniment of dance. It was also accompanied by dance, as it is made in case of lyric also. Its structure was borrowed from the movements of the dancers, and it consists a stanza known as strophe, then similar stanza antistrophe, and the third stanza, that is epod. So this is the structure. This three stanza unit is called a triad. A triad. So three stanza is called triad. In triad, the first stanza is called strophe. In second stanza, the name is given antistrophe, and the last stanza of the triad is called epod. By that way, in ode, we have many times many triads. So it is a longer poem. This structure or sequence of stanza forms could be repeated any number of times. Thus, the Pindaric ode has a fixed stanza pattern with rhythmical and metrical freedom. So, this three stanza structure, which is called triad, and many triad in a poem, in a ode, in one ode. This is the structure, this is the composition given to English literature by the great writer Pindar. Then another great writer came there, the Horatian or lesbian ode. So Horace is again the great poet of ode. The Horatian ode is simpler than the Pindaric ode. So far as theme, structure, thought is concerned, it is made easy with short stanzas of equal length and number. The treatment is direct and dignified, and the thought clearly developed. It is used often and made famous in Latin by Horace, and by after his name, that ode is came to know, and that is Horatian ode, Pindaric ode, and the second type subtype of ode genre is Pindaric ode. Hence it is known as Horatian ode. They are often addressed to a friend, deal with friendship, love. Horace adopted early Greek lyrics into Latin with Greek meters and introduced Romanized versions and discipline that caused some loss of spontaneity, a sense of detachment, but produced elegance and dignity. Horace's tone is somewhere or sometime was serious, serene, but he has made ode a very simple and easy to compose and to read, we may say. Then we have in modern time, in modern English literature, afterward, there are many great writers who composed great odes. There are some people like Abraham Cole, John Dryden, Thomas Gray, William Wordsworth, John Keats, S.T. Coleridge, P.B. Shelley, W.H. Auden, and many others. So, ode is a very dignified form or type of subjective poetry. And the last one is sonnet. So far as sonnet is concerned, sonnet is popular in ancient days also. The word sonnet is derived from Italian word that is sonetti, which means a little sound. A little sound. It is also a very short poem, short type of lyrical poetry, short type of subjective poetry, we may say. Yes, we can say the sonnet is a type of lyric also, as well as I have mentioned earlier that lyric is an umbrella term, but sonnet is a part or type of lyric as well as subjective poetry. So by that way, we should remember it. This short form of lyrical poetry has its own structure of 14 lines only. 14 lines, having a strict rhyme scheme in iambic pentameter. Iambic pentameter is a term having the first syllable unstressed and the second syllable is stressed. So this is the structure of iambic pentameter, and in iambic pentameter, the whole sonnets, the sonnet throughout English literature are written in iambic pentameter. So far as the structure is concerned, there are only two structures available in sonnet. The first one is known after the name of Petrarch, the great poet in Italy. And whatever the structure Petrarch has given, that structural sonnet was known after his name as Petrarchian sonnet. And then afterward, Sir Thomas Watt and Henry Howard, that is Earl of Surrey, they brought sonnet into English literature, and there Sir Thomas Watt has given a new form of structure. But that form, that structure, that division of stanzas is made very famous in English literature by William Shakespeare. So this three stanza structure is known after his name, that is Shakespearean sonnet. Earlier, the first type was Petrarchian sonnet. What was there in Petrarchian sonnet? In Petrarchian sonnet, there were two stanzas only. The first one is called octave. Octave means 8 line stanza. And the another was sestet. Sestet means the 6 line stanza. But the rhyme scheme is particular and fixed. In octave, the rhyme scheme was A B B A A B B A. Rhyme scheme is what? A B B A means the first line rhymes with the fourth, the second line rhymes with the third. In the next 4 line also the same pattern is followed. A B B A A B B A. So the first line again rhymes with the fourth and the second line rhymes with the third. So this octave is there, and then we have sestet, that is 6 lines. That is the end of that poem. In sestet, we have the rhyming scheme C D C C D C, means the 9th line, that is C, rhymes with the 11th lines. Again C. The 10th line is D, which rhymes with the 13th line. The 12th line rhymes with the 14 lines. So this is the composition of sestet, that is C D C C D C. So very clear and simple thing is there, that Petrarch has given only two stanza formation, two stanza divisions in a sonnet of 14 lines. The first 8 lines are called this octave stanza. The 6 lines are called sestet. But so far as Shakespearean sonnet is concerned, or the sonnet which was introduced into English literature by Sir Thomas Watt, Sir Thomas Watt has made a variation, has made an experiment. And in his experiment, he has divided sonnet into 4 parts. Into 4 parts. The first stanza of 4 line, the second stanza of the 4 line, the third stanza again 4 line, and the last 2 lines stanza was called a couplet, or is called a couplet. And in first 3 stanzas, whatever the rhyming scheme he has given, A B A B. In the first stanza, A B A B. The first line rhymes with the third, the second with the fourth. In the second stanza of 4 line, the rhyming scheme is C D C D. That is the 5th line rhymes with the 7th, the 6th line rhymes with the 8th. Again 9, 10, 11, 12. These 4 lines have the rhyming scheme of E F. That is 9th line will rhyme to 11th, and the 10th line will rhyme with the 12th. And the last 2 lines, which is a, we may say, that which is a conclusion of that sonnet, of that poem. In the first earlier 3 stanzas, the thought is developed, the subject of that sonnet is developed. And in the last 2 lines, those 2 lines are called couplet, as it is a couple. It is called couplet. and couplet has the rhyming scheme G, means both the lines rhymes to each other, and that rhyming or last two lines or the couplet conclude. It is a kind of summing up of the sonnet. So this is the structure. These are the two structure we have so far as sonnet is concerned. The Petrarchan pattern of sonnet, that is of two stanzas, octave and sestet, and Shakespearean. Already this Petrarchan sonnet form of dividing stanzas is experimented or is changed, is made upgraded by Sir Thomas Watt. It is not Shakespeare who has made that experiment. It was Sir Thomas Watt who has divided that sonnet into four stanzas. But this pattern is known, is became famous after the name of Shakespeare. After the name of Shakespeare, because Shakespeare has given the fame to that pattern of four stanzas. That is, first stanza four lines, second stanza four lines, third stanza four lines, and the couplet summing up. So he has made famous that pattern made or experimented by Sir Thomas Watt, and that's why that pattern came to know afterward the Shakespearean pattern. Okay, so that Shakespearean sonnet is there and Petrarchan sonnet is there. So these are two sonnet types in sonnet genre of poetry, or the sonnet genre sonnet type of subjective poetry. So there are many great poets in English literature, in Italy, in Greek also, who has handled this form of sonnet. But earlier it was, again I would like to repeat, octave and sestet, that is Petrarchan, and in Shakespearean sonnet there were three quatrains. The four line stanza is called quatrains, and last two lines couplet. So this form, the Shakespearean form, is used by many writers in modern period also, in Elizabethan period also. The great sonneteer who was present in Shakespearean period, Elizabethan literature, he was Philip Sidney. His sonnet collection is very famous. It should be mentioned here in this workshop. Philip Sidney's collection of sonnets was Astrophel and Stella. Astrophel and Stella. Then again, Edmund Spenser is there. He has published his collection Amority and Epithalamion. Daniel Defoe is there. Daniel Della is there. There are many writers and many poets who have tried on this very beautiful type of poetry, sonnet. Sonnet is very near, very close, like a sister to lyric. But lyric has no particular or specific structure, but sonnet has a specific structure of 14 lines. This is the difference between lyric and sonnet. Otherwise, lyric is also composed to express the love, to express the emotions, to express the thoughts, ideas. The sonnet has the same, the use to express love, to express thoughts, ideas, etc. So afterward, we have objective poetry. In objective poetry, as earlier I had told you, that in objective poetry or objective type of poetry, the poet remains absent. Remember the word, the poet remains absent. Or we should use another word, that poet is passive so far as the expression, so far as the description, so far as the analyze, so far as the painting of word painting of that picture, of that subject, of that theme, of that place, of that human being, whatever the subject is there, the poet remains absent. Very outwardly, he just describes that object. And that's why this type of poetry is called objective poetry. And the very first objective poetry I would like to mention is ballad. Ballad is there, and in ballad, the word ballad means a simple, spirited poem narrating some popular story. Uh, in Marathi, I would like to suggest, it is not the definition, it is not the translation, but ballad is near Just I am using the word near. Ballad is near to the Povada in Marathi. Whatever we do in Povada in Marathi, we do the same thing in ballad to praise any event, to praise the historical happening, to praise any kingly figure, to praise any great figure, great person. So ballad is composed down or written down. It is a very simple, spirited poem narrating the popular story. This simple form of poetry is one of the oldest form of poetry, and earlier it was the part of folk literature. It was the part of folk literature. It was sung from village to village to the accompaniment of musical instrument like harp or fiddle, as it was lyre in the lyric. Here, the harp or a fiddle is there in ballad, in English ballad. In our Marathi Povada, we have that janjiri or duff, like that. So these musical instruments are used in while singing a Marathi Povada. The same thing is there in English ballad, that a harp or a fiddle is used while singing that song. It was a medium of earning a living for the strolling singers and bands of singers. So particularly, there were some bands of singers in ancient period in earlier days, from village to village. They wandered and used to sing their song for their survival in the earlier stage, for their survival. In its earlier stage, it was accompanied by tribal dance. Dance was there also, handed down to next generation by oral tradition. Most of the ancient English ballads were collected in Bishop Percy's Relics of Ancient English Poetry, which was published in 1765. So, ballad, as earlier I have told you, that most of the objective poems, the types of objective poems are narrative. So, ballad is also narrative in verse to be sung to an audience. The subject of those old favorites, thrilling adventures, violence, war, the victory, the victor, the man of victory. The story of ballad is full of fears and tragic, frequently introduces supernatural elements also, because uh, as uh, as we read history, there are very supernatural elements we found in history. We found some mythological stories which have very supernatural elements. The same thing is here in the ballad poem, that supernatural elements were used, the magical things, the superpower, the god, the Satan, the death, the life after death, all these things were there present there in ballad. Then it is written in quatrain. The abrupt opening do follow the systematic introduction. There is an introduction to the subject also first, as it is there in ode also. It is purely the form of objective poetry where the poet remains totally absent. I earlier told you. It is inspirational. For what it is composed? It is composed to inspire the people. Through war description, the inspiration is given. Through any victory, the inspiration is given. Through any kingly fellow, through the description of any kingly fellow, the inspiration is given. The intention of that ballad is inspirational. So, to inspire the common man, to inspire the common people, to inspire the society, the ballad song were sung from rural, from village areas, and the band people were singing these songs. And the unity of time place is not followed strictly, because the grand subject is there. So those grand subjects are not be specified or bound within a time limit, within a place limit. So time place unity is not followed in ballad. So ballad has a very great history. So, and after ballad, we have the great form of poetry, and that is epic. Epic is a very great form of poetry. It is related to the religions, particularly throughout the world. It is not in India or related to the Hindu religion. We have epics of our own religion. We have epics in Christianity also. We have epics in Islam also. So epics in Marathi we may say Mahakavya, a very grand poem, a very big poem, a poem written, the poem composed into some books. The poem, how much long the epic is? The epic is a poem composed within some books, within some volumes. As we have epic poems in our India, Ramayana, Mahabharata, these are the epic poems in our Sanskrit language, in our Hindi language. Nowadays, these are available in various languages of the world. But these poems, these epics in India are composed in many books. As Ramayana has 18 volumes, Mahabharata has many volumes. So ballad is the very longest poem. It is longest than ode also. Earlier I told you ode is a longer poem, but it is a longer. But the epic is the longest poem in any language of the world. In any language of the world. Okay. So epic is a narrative poem. It means an extended narrative poem in elevated and dignified language. Dignified language. As it is a very long poem, it is, earlier I told you, it is related to religious stories particularly. So the characters are very great. The gods and demons and saturns, supernatural elements, all these things are there. The setting of the epic, we found the world, the earth, the heaven, the hell. These are the places used in epic poems. Sometimes the character, the hero or the what means the villain, whatever, of the epic poem uh, meet us on the earth, but after some time he went to the heaven. Many times he will meet us in the hell. So hell and heaven and earth, these are the places introduced in epic. The characters are very also grand. The god, Lord Eshu, Lord Shankara, Lord Brahma, Lord Buddha, all these are the characters of epic Mahakavya. So this is a very grand poem, dignified language, celebrating the feats of legendary or traditional hero. The word epics came from the Latin word epicos, which means a word, story, or a poem, simply. But as earlier I told you that epic as a very grand poem, it is very long, divided into some books or volumes, many books, 10 books, 12 books, 15 books, 18 books. There are many books. This one single poem is written in many books. This one single poem is written in into many volumes. It has a subject of national importance with the warlike exploits of some hero of national status. The setting of the poem is universal space, heaven, hell, earth, and as the character and setting is great or grand, the action explored has no time limit. It is eternal. It is eternal. The characters are god, kings, court people, the people from the hell, heaven, like angels, Satan. The theme is grand, serious, like a creation of earth, war between gods and demons. In English literature, we have a great epic by John Milton, that is Paradise Lost. Paradise Lost. And in Paradise Lost, he has given the story of the creation or the birth cycle, death and birth cycle of human being. So according to that Paradise Lost epic, there was no death to human being. There was only one male and one female was there. That Eve and Adam. This is the pair produced by God. But due to some corrupted elements, the death became the part of their life. And nowadays, whatever we may say, the cycle of human life, death and birth, it came over after that. So this is another story, but just I want to give that example that Paradise Lost is the greatest epic poem of English literature that composed by John Milton in 16th century, in 17th century, sorry, in 17th century. So supernatural elements are there, thrilling events and episodes, and The patriotism, some patriotic stories, patriotic events, patriotic people are praised or composed, are used in epic poem. And at the beginning, the innovation to muse is also made in epic poem. And there are great epic poets in English literature like John Milton. Hudibras is there in ancient Italy. Homer is there. So these are, Virgil is there. These are the great epic poets. And at the last but not the least, we came to the very small, though these are called the types of objective poetry, but actually these are not the complete forms of poetry. But nowadays, these are called the types of poetry. The third one is idyll. Idyll is an objective poetry, or is a type of objective poetry, but actually it is not an individual poetic form, but it is a kind of description of a particular scene, or an event in a poem. This description may be the part of lyric, a longer poem, an elegy, ballad, whatever. So in ballad, in elegy, in epic also, we can find the idyll. Idyll is a what you may say, the kind of description, descriptive form of a particular scene, particular event, particular short story, subplot we may say. It derived its name from Greek word meaning a little picture. Idyll means a little picture. And so the term idyll in poetry is associated with the relative brevity and pictorial effect. The poet presents a picture of few words, etc. Milton's El Allegro is a picture of a happy life subdivided into number of smaller pictures. William Wordsworth's poem, lines written on a march March, depicts the spring scene in England. So, idyll is a, though it is called a poetical type, but specially it is not a poetical form particularly. It is a description of a scene or an event particularly. And the last and the least, we again, like idyll, there is another and the last type of objective poetry, and it is satire. The satire. Satire is again has no specific form of poetry. There might be satirical ballads, satirical lyric. Even in drama, also satirical elements we have. So satirical elements are there, but some people used to say the form of objective poetry, the satire. It is applicable to both poetry and prose, as earlier I told. A verse satire might be written as an ode, elegy, ballad, or anything else. It might be the part of any other type of poetry. It depends upon the subject for what you are composing the poem. It sometime it becomes satirical, sometime it not become satirical. So when it is written through satirical point of view, that lyric, that ode, that ballad, whatever, that particular structural form, type or form of poetry might be called the satire. It is extremely flexible, hence difficult to define. What used for the purpose of invective, didactic, ridicule, personal abuse, mild scorn, sharp parody, humor, and particularly ironic wit, humor. Humor is the part of satire. Most satirical poems are humorous. These are witty poems. All these features are to be found in different satirical works. It may be defined as a literary composition whose principal aim is to ridicule the folly or the vice. In this regard, regarding this folly and vice, regarding this scorning, regarding this what we say, the personal abuse, John Dryden, the great poet and critic, has uh, talked. He says that the true end of satire. Dryden is also a great satirical poet of English literature. And he himself noted down that the true end of satire is the amendment of vices by correction. The amendment of vices by correction. We have to abuse some follies. You have to abuse, you may scorn, but up to some limit. Your purpose should be the correction in his personality, in that folly, in that foible, in that what we say man, that idea, that thought, whatever is satired, whatever is commented, the intention, the basic purpose of the sonnet poet should be like that you should correct that particular error of the thought, idea, or human being. So satire is found since ancient classics. It is from ancient days. We found satirical poems. The pioneers of the form were in Latin, Horace, Persius, Juvenal, who paved the way of imitation of all over Europe during and after Renaissance. So these are the ancient poets, Horace, Persius, and Juvenal, who has handled this form or type of poetry, though it is not a type, but this type of thematical poem. Some of the notable satire in English poetry, in English literature, many people imitated Horace and all these things, but we have great scholar poets like John Dryden in English literature, who has composed very great, very beautiful satirical poems. And John Dryden is there. His Absalom and Achitophel, Mac Flecknoe, Samuel Butler is there. His Hudibras is there. Then Alexander Pope is there. His Dunciad, Lord Byron is there. His Vision of Judgment. All these poets have written, has composed satirical poems. So these are the types of objective poetry. We have seen what is subjective poetry. We have seen what is objective poetry. Then in subjective poetry, we have lyric, elegy, ode, and sonnet. In objective poetry, we have ballad, epic, and there are two very short types, we may say, idyll and satire. So these are the types of poetry or the genres of poetry. So, with this ending note or summing note, I would like to stop here. But before going to stop, I would like to express my vote of thanks to my dear friend Dr. Suresh Sutarji, all the three colleges, all the organizers from three colleges, all the respected and honorable principals of the three colleges, and the last one, you dear students who listened very carefully, though some students are gone away. It's a lunch hours now, so I can understand. But still, I am thankful to all of you. Thank you, sir. Sudhar, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So, Bagal sir,
Yes.
now I invite Dr. Bagal sir to extend his vote of thanks to all the participants and guest speakers. At the same time, before that, I think if there are any queries of the participants, please see, sir. Bagal sir.
Good afternoon to all of you. First of all, on behalf of Dnyandeep College of Science and Commerce, Dr. Tatyasaheb Natu College of Arts and Commerce, and ICS College Khed, uh, Arts, Commerce and Science. I would like to extend my uh, great pleasure and thanks to both the speakers of today's workshop on Introduction to Poetry and Prose in English, Honorable Dr. Sunil Gaikwad sir and Honorable Dr. Pravin Borse sir. The second session, which was delivered by Dr. Pravin Borse sir, was about poetry, and he has explained all the facets of poetry from the very ancient time up to the current, and all the types, including subjective and objective poetries, having all its form in a great manner. And definitely, though some students are from not a literature background, but definitely with his lucid language and simple language, all come to know about the all types of poetry. And definitely, this lecture will definitely help all the students to explore more about English literature. And definitely, all these creativity things will develop their personality and their creative writing skill. So, on behalf of all the three colleges, I would like to extend my warm thanks to Dr. Pravin Borse sir and all the participants. I also like to suggest all the participants that there is a link of feedback You have to fill the feedback form, and all the certificates will be delivered on your email ID within 2 days. So I suggest all the participants to fill up the feedback form. And uh, on behalf of whole our three colleges, I would like to thank Dr. Suresh Sutar sir, Dr. Balasaheb Yadav sir, and all the three principals, Dr. Sangeeta Katkar madam, Dr. Vijay Kulkarni sir, Dr. Anita Auki madam, all the participants and all the technical team of Nandip who has supported for all these links and YouTube live. It is a pleasure moment that the room was having 100 students capacity, and it was a full, and some students have joined on YouTube also. So it is a big success only because of the eminent scholar speakers, Dr. Pravin Borse sir and Dr. Sunil Gondhali sir. Once again, I would like to thank to them, all the participants, and with the pre-permission of all the principals, I suggest that this workshop is over. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Praveen sir.
Thank you, sir. See you.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Close Maral.